What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about the brand new Dave Chappelle special on Netflix, so it's going to be an interesting video. I appreciate you guys watching and leaving your comments. Did you enjoy the special? Were you looking forward to it? And did you find it overly offensive? We're going to talk about all of these things right now. So Dave Chappelle takes on gun culture, the opioid crisis, and the tidal wave of celebrity scandals in a defiant stand-up special filmed in Atlanta. Alright, so this is Dave Chappelle, Sticks and Stones. Just a bit of background on how I feel about Dave Chappelle. I think he's absolutely hilarious. He was the king of comedy at a point back in the early 2000s, and really his entire renaissance, he was on top of his game, on top of the world, and, you know, then he kind of started to fly under the radar and really disappeared off the map for quite some time. A bit of a resurgence as of late. He popped up in A Star Is Born, and he's been releasing more and more and doing more stand-up comedy and kind of surfacing back to the forefront of what a comedian is nowadays. With this special, one that is undoubtedly going to make a splash with everyone, whether you're on board with it, whether you're offended by it, whether you're one of the like 28, 30-something% on Rotten Tomatoes that actually enjoyed this special, even though there are 8 critic reviews, so it's not like we have a lot to base that score upon. It is something that's going to cause conversation, which in its own way is better than something that's just kind of boring and kind of a dud that hits and doesn't leave any sort of imprint on society. We've had plenty of those Netflix specials. They come and they go and they don't do anything. No one ever talks about them. But with this special, of course, people are going to be talking about it just because what Dave Chappelle is drawing from, and the fact that he is bringing us a comedy special that would almost be a common thing happening if this would have taken place like 15 years ago. Literally, this coming out would not have made the dent that it is making in 2019 just because of these hot topics and the heavy material. And it all really comes down to, and this is the first comedy special I've ever reviewed on this channel, so I don't feel right giving this thing a score because I don't feel like I have the knowledge to critique a comedy special accurately. I'm going to judge this in the same way that I would a comedy, just in a slightly different way. I'm going to tweak it. The biggest thing about a comedy special is, does it make you laugh? Did I laugh while watching Dave Chappelle Sticks and Stones? Absolutely. And I know that comment right there, that's going to turn some people away because it automatically makes me look like the bad guy because I'm laughing at jokes that are targeting specific people in society, not just one specific group, and I'll talk about that here in a second, but jokes that are clearly going to make people upset. Now, one, and he says it in the special, if you click on my face, you know what you're getting into. You've probably heard what this is about at this point. So from here on out, if you click on it, Dave Chappelle, you know what Dave Chappelle is all about, so you know what you're in for. So if you feel like you're going to get offended with something like this, let me tell you, refrain yourself, don't watch it, because at that point, the only reason why you're watching this, unless you're just a massive fan of Chappelle, is because you want to get offended. I question the motives of people. Now, if you feel like you have to review this, if you are a critic on Rotten Tomatoes, which once again, I think people are refraining from, because at this point, you know, saying that you thought the special was funny is like saying you're a horrible person, or that's the feeling that goes into this, right? And me saying I laughed throughout this entire special, it kind of makes me feel bad, and it kind of makes me question the fact that should I go on YouTube and should I record my thoughts? But that's what this channel is all about. I'm here to tell you how I feel. If I don't give you my thoughts on this special, if I sit back and go, well, if somebody sees that I laughed during this comedy special, they're going to know that I'm a horrible person, then I'm not doing my job. I'm not being fair to you all if I don't tell you that I think this special is funny. And it would be a different case if he's attacking one specific group of people. And I feel this way about shows like a Family Guy, right? Family Guy does not target a religion or a race or this or that, right? They do target those things, but they target all of those things. And the beautiful thing about what Dave Chappelle does here is he is calling out certain groups of people, but he's not just sticking to that one group of people, right? He's calling out this group and then that group. And if that group gets offended, they're going, well, why aren't you talking about this group? His next joke is probably about the group that you were just referring to. And he does this consistently throughout the entire special. And listen, if you don't think this is funny and the jokes don't land, that's one thing, right? You're in this to laugh. If you're not laughing, then clearly you're not on board with the special. But if you are kind of, all right, that's kind of funny, but it's offensive, then I don't think that's fair to Chappelle, because he's in this to prove that he still has it in terms of being a comedian. And regardless of how you feel about this content, I believe he still has it, because in my opinion, the jokes did land, and he brings up some interesting points. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I agree with everything that he said, because I didn't. At certain points, I was the one sitting there going, well, you know, you might be pushing the boundaries, but I am of the camp that it is not fair to bring in a personal bias when reviewing the quality of content. That's just the camp that I'm in. You don't have to be in that camp. Once again, you don't have to agree with me. These are all just my opinions. But watching this, and even the jokes that may have started to offend me personally, I still laughed. I still thought they were funny because of Chappelle's delivery, the way he goes about telling the joke, and the way that he doesn't sit back to explain himself and then tell the joke. No, he's just like, listen, I'm here to do what I'm going to do. Whether or not you like that in 2019, that's up to you. But once again, you clicked on my face. You watched this for a reason, and Dave Chappelle is doing something that no one else is going to do in 2019, and that is just come on stage and rip into people that no one else is going to rip into, not because of a personal vendetta, and I truly believe that. I don't think Dave Chappelle has an issue with anyone that he is making fun of, but that's kind of what comedy used to be about. That's not what comedy is now, just because of the culture, the way that the world is going. And I'm not saying that's a problem, the way that the world is going. I'm just saying when it comes to being on stage and being a comedian, I think that's a place and a space where someone should be able to flex their chops. Now, there is a point, there's a certain barrier that you should not cross. And some comedians have went on stage and they have crossed that barrier, and they have said things where I'm like, that you shouldn't have said that. You're allowed to say that because you're the comedian, you're the one telling the joke. You probably shouldn't have said it. I didn't find that to be the case with anything that Dave Chappelle said. Everything he said, it was, I hate to say in good spirits, in good nature, because some of the jokes is like, yeah, there's somebody gonna be really upset, whether it's joking about the Michael Jackson documentary, or the entire R. Kelly situation, or the Kevin Hart Oscar debacle, or abortion, race, religion, sex, gender, everything. And then that's the thing. He did it all, right? He's not just focusing on one group of people. If he would have spent 45 minutes talking about a particular race, then I'd be like, all right, maybe he's got something personal out against this group of people. And then I would have sat back and said, all right, I'm going to bring personal biases into this. I'm going to bring politics into this. And I will probably give something like that a negative review, right? But he incorporates everyone and everything. And you sit back and you go, oh, well, that's what comedians used to do, but they don't do that anymore because everyone gets offended about literally everything. And I understand if you get offended about certain things, right? And I understand if you're offended by certain jokes here. But the jokes that you're offended by, with this special in particular, wait 5 minutes, and there's another group of people, or there's another situation, or there's another event that just happened in Hollywood and everything going on in California that he will talk about that you will probably laugh at, right? There's something in here, I believe, for everyone except people who don't like, hardcore language. Well, if you don't like Dave Chappelle, then once again, why are you watching? There's just so many different ways that you can approach this, but comedy's not about whether you agree or disagree. This is not Twitter. This is not even the YouTube comment section, because I see it down there all the time. This is comedy. This is a stand-up comedian that's been in the game for a long time, and he starts to get into it at the end. He's like, listen, just because I make fun of this group of people, I was poor once. I was in that situation. And he prefaces it multiple times. I love this group of people. I love certain people involved in this situation. And then he goes on to tell the joke and he makes fun of it. But he doesn't truly believe that he should be telling this joke right now. No, Dave Chappelle went up there and he said, no regrets. And I found his special to be really engaging, really intriguing, and at the end of the day, funny. And in my opinion, that's what comedy is all about. But You all don't have to believe what I said here today. If you watch this and you found it disgusting, that's fine. And comedy is one of the only genres in movies and in television that you can watch and have a completely different opinion, but you can tell me and be like, Austin, I found this, that, and the other thing. Be like, yeah, I understand that, because just the subjectivity of the genre, it's one of the only times I can look at a 20s, 30s Rotten Tomatoes score and go, you know what? Yeah, I don't care. I don't care at all. Not that I overly care about Rotten Tomatoes scores, but comedy's a different ballgame, man, because what you find funny and what I find funny may be two completely different things. And listen, once again, I'm not saying I found it funny because he's making fun of, I agree with him. I didn't agree with him on everything, but once again, I don't have to agree with him. That's what comedy's all about. Those are just my thoughts. Those are just my opinions. I apologize if I turned a lot of people off from this channel, but you know what? I watched it. And I feel like it's my job to tell you whether or not I believe it's worth watching. And I do. I think it's really funny. I think it's going to push a lot of people's buttons, but maybe those are buttons that need to be pushed for some people. Who knows? What do I know? I'm just a YouTube channel who talks about movies and TVs and now comedy specials. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Once again, what's your thoughts and your comments down below? I'm interested to see what direction this goes in. If you enjoy this video, please leave it a thumbs up, because it's going to be controversial. I know it is, but hey, that's the way the world works, right? Thank you so much for watching this once again. So many reviews coming later on this week. It Chapter 2, that's one I'm really looking forward to. And then, of course, my top 10 television shows of all time. Very special video coming at you. You guys the best, and I'll see you very soon.